So we've been looking at why nations go to war all this chapter, and we've had a ton of different reasons why nations go to war. We even talked about why America went to war. We had an economy that we thought was sufficient. We had a labor force that was strong enough. We had enough fighting men to do it. And we'll talk about how, as we approach the end of chapter 7, we'll talk about how America transitioned out of war. Because, the reason that we go to war, it doesn't really help us when it comes to getting out of war. And by that, what I mean is that as we exit this war, as we see the many different things that America is going to be facing as it exits this war, that underneath it all is an undercurrent of fear. And as Yoda says, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. and so what we're going to see here in America is an incredible amount of fear, particularly of revolution. Because let's not forget here, and as something that we'll see all across Europe as World War I was coming to an end, the nations of Europe were facing revolution. The Russian Empire faces revolution. The German Empire, Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman Empire, all these nations face revolution, and it creates dramatic changes in what those nations are able to do and how those nations define themselves, who they are as a people. And America fears that. We fear that revolution for a variety of reasons, whether it's going to be strikes that we'll see take place, or riots over race, or even fear of a specific kind of revolution, a communist revolution, or even just anarchy in general, fear that people are going to want to destroy our government, just like other governments have been destroyed around Europe. So I want to start here with this particular section by looking at economic problems, because as America is done with this war, as she is basically coming out of World War I, she's going to face a series of economic problems or challenges. And we call this demobilization. When you get prepared for war, that's mobilizing something. You're getting it ready to go. And as you exit war, you are demobilizing it. So right there above my head, that's the problems that we have when we're withdrawing our economy from fighting the war. And one of the things that we're going to really see is that for workers, the average person, inflation is going to continue to rise a lot. And I know we've talked about inflation before. It's the amount of prices and how fast prices rise, and it makes the value of your dollar less. And that's going to make it really hard for workers because their cost of living, the cost that it takes them for food or shelter or anything that they need to kind of go from one day to the next, that's going to continue to go up and up and up. But their wages aren't. And this is going to make workers really angry. And I want you to actually understand that in America today, there's much of the same kind of distaste and disgust and distrust of businesses that are making a lot of money. Prices are rising, but people aren't seeing that in their wages. Now, I know we're long past 2009, but this chart definitely shows you what I want you to see, which is that in blue you have kind of the average wage of people, and this is just a simple chart from 2009 to 2013. So you can see that wages do go up a little bit from 2009 to 2013. I mean that's a good thing, but that in red, the index of inflation is rising faster than our wages. That means that even though our wages are going up, prices are going up faster than our wages, which means we're not making as much money as we should to even meet our own costs of living. This is going to make workers now, and especially in 1918, 1919, very, very angry because they need those higher wages. So they're going to go on what's called a general strike. And the idea here is that the fear that these workers have is that they're not going to have what they need to survive. And so they have to then go on strikes. And all workers in a community, not just a certain kind of worker, like not just teachers, not just Harley-Davidson workers, not just construction workers, all types of workers in the city are going to go on strike together because everyone's suffering together. And there's just a tremendous amount of discontent that all these workers have, and they feel like they're being taken advantage of. And that fear of revolution is going to be kind of housed inside this need for strikes, because In every case in Europe, Austria-Hungary, Germany, the Russian Empire, Ottoman Empire, it was the average worker, the average person who revolts and rebels and destroys that country and creates something new. So Americans are going to see workers here beginning to follow that same pattern, and it's going to worry them.